Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for March 7th, 2020. As always, please do not forget to subscribe, as well as ringing the bell notifications, and never miss one of my videos again. After you subscribe, please consider ringing the bell notifications and watching the whole video. Today we're going to be talking about the stormy southeast, how it's been soaked, and it's going to get, it's going to get a lot stormier again. Start seeing more wet patterns, but eventually, maybe, possibly followed by some drier patterns. But for now, we're going to be dealing with some above normal precipitation. My next video, hopefully, will be in a couple of days or in a few days, will be my first outlook. It'll be an outlook on the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. I know it's very early, but this is around the time I did it last year, so I kind of wanted to start off evenly this year. And eventually, I'm going to start doing some hurricane archives, so storms that we've had, kind of like a recap to reflect back on them. So, anyway, but let's start with today's video about the stormy southeast. We're going to be looking at the GFS model first and how there was a high pressure parked over the region. Okay, if we go back to right now, so March 7th around 2 o'clock. So if we go towards now, which is 8 o'clock, you can see the high pressure is moving farther east, so that flow is kind of trying to kick down the Appalachian, but it's not really working now because the high is kind of farther east. Like earlier, it was able to do that because the high was farther west. We had like a flow coming down from the northeast like this, but now the high pressure is starting to move eastward and eventually moves toward the Carolina coast. And as it moves away, see it move away. Okay, I mean you don't even see it anymore. Okay, and here's your next area, kind of like not really a line, but kind of like basically like a squall line of showers and storms, but it's not going to be anything too severe. It's going to be making their way through the southeast. Okay, I mean, and that's by like Tuesday. That'll probably all be done by, we'll be moving through Tuesday morning. Most likely be done by the time I wake up on Wednesday. But then Wednesday afternoon, got like a little disturbance dropping in from the north. Okay, and it's going to bring some more wet conditions and maybe like a little gust front behind it too. As you can see, it's another development right in there. This little area of circulation. Okay, so that's gonna push through as like a little line. It's gonna stay through Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. It's gonna stay there for a while. Okay, then everything, so that area of showers and storms pushes southwest, and then gets refired back into our next system that comes in. Okay, and this is going to bring snow potentially to Chicago, other areas in that region. So, with that said, with the next 10 days, okay, the rainfall won't be all that bad, but the question is, do we get this at one time? Like, this is like 2 to 3 inches up here. I did not drill that well. Let me try to drill that a little bit better. Sorry, Gecko. So 2 to 3 inches there for the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Also, I mean, this could be snow, I'm not sure, but northern Missouri, 2 to 3 inches. Northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, 2 to 3, maybe 3.5 in northern Alabama. As well as the Arklatex region, 2 to 3 inches there as well. So that's kind of like your target spots for the next 10 days. We could see 2 to 3 inches of rain. The question is, now this isn't all spread out over 10 days. I mean, obviously, we might get it at one time. The highest rainfall totals looks to be right there, about 3.4 inches there in northern Alabama, northern central Alabama. That seems to be where the highest is. Also, maybe if you go out towards central Oklahoma, maybe 3.5 inches of rain there for you, according to the GFS model. Now, let's look at the European model. Okay, so as we head through the weekend, not much to talk about. Monday, again, here's your expansive area of precipitation that's going to be moving through in a squall line form, but again, nothing too severe, just some greens on the map. That is all gone by Wednesday morning. Here's your, this will probably bring you like it's gonna be a quicker dose of rain, but it's gonna be heavier. See a lot more yellows, so this will probably be your worst rainmaker right here, even though it'll be very brief. Like it's starting to enter the region by 2 p.m. Wednesday. I mean by 2 p.m. Wednesday. By 8 p.m. Wednesday, it's moving through. I mean, you still got these cells that are kind of developing through Mississippi and Alabama and Tennessee. So if those refire, if we get some instability thrown in there, possibly some severe weather, but by 2 a.m. Thursday, I mean, it's all pulled out of here. I mean, it's all gone. And then, got another little storm coming in from the southwest. Okay, and the European model's putting a lot of snow there for Iowa, Missouri, and Kansas. I remember seeing this morning. And even though this is the 12Z run. And as that moves through over the next 10 days, who knows, maybe some snow for the mid-Atlantic. I wish. I mean, it's been pretty much a snowless winter. So I'm only going to go out to 10 days because it wouldn't be fair, because I have to do that for every single model. Otherwise, it's not that fair. So the European model really enhances the rainfall. Instead of putting it in 4, little, separate regions, they're forecasting 2 to 3 inches of precipitation through the Oklahoma up through southwestern Missouri, southeastern Kansas, all the way through northern Mississippi, Tennessee. So it's kind of like a more expansive area of 2 to 3 inches. In addition, they're adding an area of 4 to 6 inches of rain from Little Rock to northwestern parts of Mississippi. Could possibly see 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, according to the European model. Now, finally, how about the Canadian model? Because, the NAM doesn't go out far enough yet. So don't let the colors misjudge you, because this is kind of a lower resolution model, so you're not going to see much in the way of yellows and oranges with this. But still, green signifying that rainfall is going to be coming through. Winds down Wednesday. Okay, that's like your little disturbance that pushes through right here. Okay, so this is Friday morning. You can see not that heavy on the precipitation. Okay, I mean, the precipitation comes through, and there's that storm firing off to the southwest. Okay, we do see some areas of yellow and a little bit of orange, but other than that, I mean, over the next 10 days, it's going to be some rain. It's going to be like more of a nuisance if you listen to the Canadian model. So let's take it for 10 days. And you can see some areas, okay, like a little bit above 3 inches for like northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. Near Dallas, or maybe north of there, 4 or 5 inches is possible. So 4 to 5 inches of rain. Again, not all that helpful, but widespread 2 to 3 inches of precipitation. Okay, it's what all the models seem to be saying. And again, none more than a nuisance. But since we have been so, we have been on the wet side lately, it's not going to really help matters much. So from the 7th to the 14th, so in the next 7 days, according to the GEPS model, okay, we could have some above average precipitation potentially. Okay, it could be anywhere from a ½ inch in some spots to like 1.5 to 2 inches above average in others. Okay, across the Tennessee Valley. Okay, let's go from the 10th to the 17th now. And you can see from the Tennessee Valley to the northeast. Again, it's going to be wet, or at least, more than average, above average rainfall. But notice, 16th to the 23rd, as we head to the 3rd week of March, that above normal precipitation stays there. However, some dry air is kind of lurking in Florida and Georgia, which can be some good news because there is a river gauge, which I will show you later, in southeastern Georgia by like Savannah, that is actually in major flood stage right now. So this dry pattern that we've kind of been stuck in, okay, because you can see if I circle here where that river gauge is, that is in major flood stage in Georgia, I mean, you can see it's going to stay yellow the whole time. So them being dry will help recovery because, I mean, major flood stage river, okay, it's going to impact somebody if a river's at major flood stage in that kind of area. Now, how about the CFS models? Okay, here's the 14th to the 21st. Okay, again, a little bit drier for the northeast, but Tennessee Valley, the southeast, the Arklatex, the southern plains, all pretty wet. However, 21 to the 21st to the 28th, so heading towards the 4th week of March, and a little bit more to the southeast, starting to get into that yellow shading, that drier air, or drier than average conditions. And this is like what you call your transition time. So end of March, early April. Again, maybe a little bit of dry weather, maybe some wet conditions for Illinois and Texas, according to the CFS model. But other than that, in the southeast, it's dry, and then boom, the first, potentially what could be the 1st week of April into the 2nd week, we're already getting some above average rainfall. And through mid-April, at least with the current forecasting, you could see some more wet weather coming through the southeast. But remember, we got hurricane season still to deal with. I mean, it's for another few months, but still, we have the hurricane season to get through. Now, the GEFS, now to the 14th, kind of putting a lot more dry air on the map. As you can see to the southeast, And as we head through time, that or that wet air, or that above average precipitation air, it kind of stays locked in. Like you can just see, it kind of never moves. Like if I just let this animate, like watch this. Let's just let it animate. You can see the above normal precipitation just stays there. From Texas, spanning northeastward up through Illinois and Michigan, it just stays there the whole time. And that dry air does kind of stay there for the southeast too. So that could aid in some recovery, especially if you've been impacted by flooding. Now, let's look at the Climate Prediction Center. Okay, the 13th or the 17th, the 6 to 10 day outlook, and much of the country, okay, is going to be above average precipitation, okay? Even Alaska, which had a heck of a February there, and it had a lot of snow, almost broke the record for snowfall for February, and really cold too. But this is where we've been really impacted by flooding, okay, maybe some above average precipitation, but again, in Savannah, southeastern Georgia, where some of those river gauges are, we are seeing some potentially dry conditions for 6 to 10 days. And look at 8 to 14. So this is the 15th through the 21st. Climate Prediction Center. You can see we kind of still have some, it's kind of divided because, so basically what's happening is, this is kind of your zone that's been really impacted, right? If I draw a line down here, so this region right here, in the impact zone that's been impacted, like in that zone right here, so Little Rock, northern Mississippi, Memphis, you're going to see some above average precipitation. But on the eastern side of that impact zone, like places impacted by flooding, including Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, are on the drier side. And other than that, it's just split down the middle. So some areas in that impact zone are going to be seeing some wetter conditions potentially, some drier conditions. So hopefully, if you live farther east, you might see some drier air work in. Because if you look at 6 to 10, look at towards Georgia and Florida and how the dry air kind of expands, or at least what they're forecasting. And for the month of March, they are really bullseye in this area for wet conditions, though, with the northern Gulf Coast potentially being dry. So it's all a matter of luck. Who knows? Maybe we might not get all that much rain heading through the rest of March. However, where you see that orange and red, okay, on this map, through the 7th through the 12th, so now through the 12th, basically. In the South Dakota, okay, the southern parts of the Mississippi River, Alabama, Georgia, anywhere in those oranges and reds, likely or even occurring river flooding is occurring, because we're having occurring or likely river flooding. Yellow there in central Georgia means possible river flooding. Okay, but again, just keep in mind that if we get a lot of rain, let's say up in this region right here, just remember, this is all the Mississippi River. So all that rain that might fall in, let's say, near St. Louis, it's going to flow down the Mississippi River. So eventually it's all got to stack up somewhere, okay, by the Gulf of Mexico and Mississippi River. Matter of fact, there's a flood gauge that we'll show you in a bit, northwest of New Orleans, about right there. That's a major flood stage right there. So we're going to show you that. I think that's the next map, right? Yes, it is. All right, so here's our river gauges map, and here's that one I just told you, northwest of New Orleans here. The Mississippi River at Baton Rouge. Okay, it's actually a major flood stage right now because all that rain that's moving south, okay, through the northern plains down to the southern parts of the Mississippi River, it's all got to stack up somewhere. Okay, so here's the Mississippi River at Baton Rouge. And it's been at major flood stage for a while, and we could be in major flood stage, like, literally, like, until probably, like, next Saturday. So basically a week from now, we could be, dropping the moderate flood stage. That, according to the forecast, dropping on a major flood stage and the moderate, that's going to happen 8 days from now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So basically next Sunday, not tomorrow, but next Sunday, potentially. And even moderate flooding, that's still really bad. Okay, so, and we won't even get to, minor flood stage until the 21st or the 22nd of March. So we got a while here. And looking at where we are now, where are we at? Near 43 feet, kind of. Okay, shipping and industrial activities are significantly affected. Unprotected low-lying areas will be flooding and agricultural operations will be impacted on the west side of the river. And the city of Baton Rouge is protected by levees at this level of flooding, luckily. But still, okay, and this was the flood record 47.28. That's not a specific gauge, but that's how That's a record from May 15th in 1927. So we're gonna get close. Okay, this we're probably like the highest we ever had was 42.5, like the highest we've had recently. So it looks like this is the crest, and we're gonna slowly start falling from there. Potentially, unless we get another big dose of rain, and it could go right back up. But forecasts are indicating that it could go down. Let's see, Mississippi River. How about Mississippi River at Donaldsville, Louisiana? Okay, so this is kind of southeast, like more southeast of where we just were. We were at moderate flood stage. Again, 31.27, that's about as high as it's going to get, and it's going to start going down over time. But again, we won't drop out of, moderate flood stage until for another 8 days. Okay, and we could be in minor flood stage potentially for another 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, at least. So where we are now, okay, we are at, let's see, near 2733 feet. So the river barge traffic becomes dangerous, particularly when navigating sharp turns on the stretch of the river. Navigation could become difficult for smaller river craft. Safety precautions for river traffic are urged. That's kind of where we are now, but Highway 18 west, that river gets, I don't know if hopefully there's like a bridge there, but potentially some, some flooding. There's really like a lot of flooding going on in the southeast. I got news for you. It's something we don't need. Now, that river gauge that I mentioned in southeastern Georgia by Savannah, that could potentially be in a little bit of a drier pattern. That one I was talking about. Well, let's take you to that one. There's actually two of them. The first one is Hopi. I think I'm saying that right. It's near the Hopi River near Reidsville, Georgia. I hope I'm saying that right. All right. Kind of humiliating when you say it wrong. Luckily, even though we rose, like the river rose really quickly, it's also going to fall a lot quicker. Like, for example, for some areas that won't be out of major flood stage, like the Mississippi River near Baton Rouge, like we won't be out of major flood stage for like another week or 8 days. Luckily for this, near Reidsville and the Hopi River, we're going to be dropping out of major flood stage like in a couple days, and dropping out a moderate flood stage in about 4 or 5 days. So even though the river rose a lot quicker, it's also going to be diving down a lot quicker. So we are at 20 feet now, somewhere around 20 feet. And the access road to the Joy Bluff community is covered with 1.5 feet of water. So 18 inches of water is now covering the access road into the Joy Bluff community. So, I guess you're not going to be able to get into the Joy Bluff community. I'm assuming there was a little bridge there, but this river runs under Route 56 heading through Reidsville. So that access road, if you got to get into that community, sadly, I don't think you're going to be able to. Now, this is the little Satilla River near Offerman, Georgia. This one only has observations because you can tell by the shape of the gauge. If it's a square or a circle, it's going to have like a forecast, but if it's a diamond like this one is, it's not going to have a forecast with it, but here's the observations of how the river, like how it came to be. We've been in minor flood stage for at least a couple weeks. Like if we go back to, it's like March 27th is like, it's like a while ago. Yeah, it's like, so we've probably been in minor flood stage for 1 to 2 weeks, at least, probably more than that. And Wednesday, Thursday, we started to see a rise, and then Friday it really rose, and here we are now, 14.5 feet, which is major flood stage, and we're gonna have some problems, okay? Extensive inundation of structures and roads along the river basin, evacuations of people, or transfer to higher ground is likely, okay? And that happens at 14 feet. We are actually at 14.6 right now. So just imagine, that statement I just read to you, okay, happens at 14 feet. Well, we're basically like 7 inches above that. So we're at 14.6 feet right now, and probably as the blue line indicates, we're probably at a crest. Maybe that means like we're at its highest point. It could be dropping, or we could be seeing another spike and then a drop. But that's why, it's good to always have a forecast with your river, but you never know. Now, we're going to be taking a look now through the southeast, and how much rainfall have you had in the past 7 days, 20 days, 30 days? All that is going to be covered right here, right now. And so here is the observed precipitation in the past 7 days. So basically, if we look here, we go to this little calendar here. Basically, from February 29th until now, how much rainfall have we had? Okay, so in the past week or so. Anywhere in this red shade, okay, is anywhere, you have anywhere from 5 to 8 inches of rain. Okay, and that is really causing some big issues. Let's okay, now you're gonna give me trouble. So Central Alabama between Montgomery and Birmingham, as well as parts of southern Georgia, maybe near Macon. That is where we've had 6 to 8 inches of rain in the past 7 days, and that is just really excessive. Matter of fact, actually, first of all, let's go to departure from normal, and wait for that to load. So the past 7 days, departure from normal. So basically, how many inches of rainfall are we above average? Hopefully, let's see if we can get that to load. So departures from, okay, hold on, maybe that's not working. Hold on. Let's try percent of normal. Hopefully that works. Okay, you do not want to cooperate today. So how about the past 14 days? So basically, how much precipitation have we had in the past 2 weeks? And if we zoom in a little bit there, I really do apologize. So apparently the map has seemed to malfunction, but again, we have been so far, like I can just tell you from knowledge that we, like across the southeast, that we have been, 5 to 8 plus inches of precipitation above normal in the past week, 2 weeks, past 30 days. So basically, the soil is very saturated. We do not need any more rain whatsoever. And again, that's where river flooding is going to be across the southeast, as well as eastern South Dakota. So, thank you for watching today's video. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. Thank you for watching.